The Young and the Restless spoilers Friday, July 24th. Jill's secret exposed, Sally confesses, and Billy challenged. Sally comes clean about her risky deal. Jill finally reveals the truth she's been hiding, and Billy faces a challenge that could change everything. The Young and the Restless spoilers are in for Friday, July 24th, 2026. In tomorrow's episode, we can expect there to be an exposed secret. Meanwhile, one woman makes a confession, but could it be a mistake? Plus, a deal is struck in Genoa City. Keep reading to find out what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Key takeaways. Sally confesses to Billy about her secret deal with Adam, risking Victor's wrath. Jill finally reveals the long-awaited secret she's been hiding from Billy and Sally. Billy faces a major challenge that could reignite his battle with Kane. Victor could view Sally's deal as a betrayal and prepare to strike back. Devin turns to Ashley for guidance as he struggles to cope with recent family trauma. Sally Spectra confesses. Let's start off with Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope. The redhead will need to update Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson. The lady made a deal with Adam Newman, Mark Grossman. That way it would take Sally out of the line of fire. However, even though the deal is a secret, Victor Newman, Eric Braden, has a way of finding things out. Victor will certainly view it as a betrayal. Victor is already starting to doubt Adam because of Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan. 1 minute, Victor declared Chelsea a part of the family. The next minute, he's questioning if she's any good for Adam. So, when Victor learns about the deal, he could throw down the hammer. After all, Victor likes the game, so it's not just about winning. It's the chase, the hunt, the adrenaline from pursuing the goal. Jill Abbott's secret. Over with Jill Abbott, Lauren Koslow. She has been keeping a big secret. It seems that Billy and Sally will finally find out what that secret is. All this time, I thought it would be about Jill's health. However, the soap forums are rumbling that it's business-related. I'll be honest, I hate business stories. They are so boring to me. Billy Abbott's challenge. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, July 24th reveal that Billy will face a challenge. Whatever secret he learns from Jill might center around Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn. While Kane has been trying to smooth things over, Billy is an instigator. Billy will just become fixated on making Kane pay, which likely means getting obsessed with Chancellor again. That will also make Sally doubt her future with Billy. I love how soap story arcs just tangle up with each other. What else to expect? As for what else to expect, Devin Winters, Brighton James, will turn to Ashley Abbott, Eileen Davidson. It's true that Ashley has experience with mental illness, but she's also the victim's grandmother. So, Ashley might tell Devin that his feelings are natural and normal, but if he doesn't face them, he could spiral next. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most? The morning sun poured through the towering windows of Chancellor Towers, but the warmth outside did nothing to soften the tension brewing inside. Genoa City's business elite had gathered for what was expected to be a routine strategy meeting. Instead, it would become the day that changed everything. Jill walked into the boardroom with her trademark confidence, yet those who knew her best noticed something different. Her smile was carefully measured, and her eyes constantly drifted toward the leather folder she carried under her arm. Billy watched from across the room. "You look nervous," he said. "I've been called many things," Jill replied with a grin. "Nervous isn't one of them." Billy wasn't convinced. Before he could press further, the conference room doors opened, and Sally stepped inside. She looked equally distracted, clutching her phone as though she expected life-changing news at any second. The meeting barely began before an anonymous email appeared on every executive's tablet. Silence swept across the room. Jill's face turned pale. Someone had uncovered documents connected to a decades-old financial agreement. One Jill had kept hidden from nearly everyone. According to the files, she'd secretly protected an investment tied to the family's legacy, sacrificing millions in short-term profits to ensure the company would survive a future crisis. Gasps echoed around the table. Some executives accused her of deception. Others admired her foresight. Billy stared at the documents in disbelief. "You've known about this all these years?" Jill slowly stood. "Yes. Why keep it secret?" "Because some truths create more damage than the lies protecting them." The room erupted into arguments. One board member insisted Jill should resign immediately. Another argued she had saved the company. The vote was postponed as emotions spiraled out of control. Outside the boardroom, Sally paced the hallway. She had barely listened to the debate because another secret weighed even heavier on her conscience. For weeks, she'd been hiding information that could alter multiple relationships across Genoa City. Every day, she convinced herself there would be a better time to speak. Today made it painfully obvious that secrets always found daylight. Billy found her standing by the windows overlooking the city. "You've been quiet." "I need to tell you something." Billy folded his arms. "I'm listening." Sally took a deep breath. "I wasn't completely honest." His expression immediately changed. "It wasn't about business," she continued. "It was about protecting someone I care about." Billy remained silent. I learned something weeks ago that could have changed everything. I convinced myself staying quiet would spare everyone more pain. And now, I realize silence can hurt just as much." Billy sighed. "Why tell me today?" "Because watching Jill face the consequences made me understand something. Secrets don't disappear. They grow." Billy looked toward the skyline before answering. "Truth, even if it changes everything. Especially then." For the first time in weeks, Sally felt the weight on her shoulders begin to lift. Meanwhile, Jill sat alone in her office. The documents scattered across her desk represented decades of impossible decisions. She hadn't hidden the agreement for personal gain. She'd done it because she believed leadership sometimes meant carrying burdens alone. The knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Billy entered. Neither spoke immediately. Finally, he asked the question she'd expected all afternoon. Was it worth it? Jill leaned back in her chair. "If I had another chance, I'd still protect the company." "But you lost people's trust." "I know." Billy crossed the room. "Trust isn't built through perfect decisions. No, it's built through honest ones." Jill smiled faintly. "You sound older." "I've made enough mistakes to earn a little wisdom." Their conversation was interrupted by another emergency announcement. The board had called an immediate vote. Everyone returned to the conference room. This time, the atmosphere felt entirely different. Instead of focusing solely on Jill's secrecy, the directors debated the future. Could someone who kept such an enormous secret continue leading? Or had the secret itself ultimately saved everything they'd worked for? Votes were cast one by one. The final result surprised nearly everyone. Jill would remain in her position, but under greater oversight than ever before. It wasn't complete victory. It wasn't total defeat. It was accountability. As the meeting ended, Sally quietly approached Jill. "I know today wasn't easy." Jill laughed softly. "That's the understatement of the year. I understand now why people keep secrets. And they always believe they're protecting someone." Jill nodded. "The problem is that eventually everyone pays the price." Across the room, Billy received an unexpected phone call. The voice on the other end delivered startling news. A powerful investor wanted to fund an ambitious new venture, but only if Billy agreed to walk away from the family business entirely. It was the opportunity he'd always dreamed about. It was also the hardest choice he'd ever face. He stared through the conference room window as the city buzzed below. Everything he'd fought for suddenly stood at a crossroads. Jill noticed his troubled expression. "What happened?" Billy slipped his phone into his pocket. "I've just been challenged." "By who?" "By my future." Jill smiled knowingly. "Those are always the toughest battles." Billy walked toward the elevator uncertain which path he would choose. Behind him, Sally watched quietly. She understood that honesty had given her peace, but it hadn't erased the consequences. Jill returned to her office, determined to rebuild the trust she'd lost one conversation at a time. And somewhere beyond the walls of Chancellor Towers, whoever had leaked Jill's secret was already planning their next move. Because in Genoa City, today's revelation was never the end of the story. It was only the beginning. The coming days promised new alliances, unexpected betrayals, and impossible decisions. Jill would fight to prove that leadership could survive transparency. Sally would discover that confession was only the first step toward redemption. Billy would face a defining moment that could reshape both his career and his personal life. As the sun set over the city, 3 lives stood on the edge of dramatic change. Old wounds had reopened, fresh opportunities had emerged, and unanswered questions lingered in every corner. One thing was certain. The secrets may have been exposed, but the consequences were only just beginning.